Well, good afternoon, everyone. What should I say? Good evening! That's quite a passable impression. Well, we're here today to discuss all things bad manners with my three friends here, Louis, Alphonso, Paul. What's his name? Don't have to say the whole name. Gus, Hot Lips, Herman, and Mr. Alan Botsky Perry, and I'm, of course,
the king on the periphery.
But anyway, let's chat. Where did you all meet? I mean, I know this. Right, first of all, let's start with a really childish question. Who's the oldest? Because you're all the same age, roughly, aren't you?
I'm the oldest.
Alan's the oldest.
Duncan's the oldest. Yeah, Fatty was the oldest.
Right.
I'm the second youngest in the band. Brian was the youngest.
Thank you very much. Okay, so what, you all went to Woodbury Down School?
We all went to Woodbury Down School, us three here.
Yeah. Except Louis arrived a little later, because you went to...
Dame Alice Owen's school.
He was expelled.
From where I was expelled for shooting picture with an air rifle. Didn't hurt him really. And where I went to school with several members of Spandau Ballet. John Keeble was my mate in class, and I had a fight with the singer at one point, Tony Hadley, who was also in my year. So I wouldn't have been in Spandau Ballet if I'd have stayed in. Partly because I can't say their name properly. Spandau Ballet.
Well, maybe you should have been. You wouldn't be in now, would you?
No.
Well, by saying you wouldn't have been in Spandau Ballet, that sort of alludes to you won the fight. Because he's a big guy.
We were separated, but I think I was on the upper hand.
So think.
Anyway, I got to punch him in the face, which quite a lot of people would like to do.
But he's an Arsenal.
He's an Arsenal supporter, but yeah, there's some kids on.
Well, something I've never thought about. I mean, I knew the story, but would you swap Lip Up Fatty for True? To have written it?
No.
I mean, forget the financial rewards.
No. Lip Up Fatty is it's what it is. It's a nice thing. It's got a lovely bit of trumpet in it. It's a nice piece of music. But whereas True is truly embarrassing.
Well, are you familiar with the trumpet? I don't know. I'm not asking silly questions here. Do you know the trumpet line in Lip Up Fatty? Yeah. Can you sing it?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. See, you do know it. Look at this. This is humbled. This is Paul's first sort of thing like this, so you've got to make him feel warm.
Classic solo.
Yeah, anyway. Right, let's go back. So you're at school. You have the idea. What were you
first said? You said True made more money than Lip Up Fatty.
I would have thought so.
I think you probably did too.
I would have thought so. Right, so you're at school. What are your musical loves and influences? Seriously, don't lie.
When I met these guys, I like Deep Purple, Pink Floyd, T-Rex, Pink Floyd,
Bowie, Slade.
Yeah.
Oh, Bowie. Slade. Yeah.
But I did actually like Twinkle Skinhead records.
Okay. So it was that kind of area. There's a lot of black and white people living in that area together. And so you got together and started playing as a band. But it wasn't Bad Manners, was it? It was
Duke Solo and the Sheepstar.
Wasn't it called Stand Back?
Oh yeah, that was his first. But no one could play any instruments though.
And where was that? In Stonehenge? You went to Stonehenge?
Yes, yeah, we did. And
I've done my homework.
Yes, yeah. A lot of research.
Start down. He knows everything.
I was observing it all as well.
we played with Jessica, me and Dave Farron.
Right.
Dave Farron, sorry, is the bass player. We played behind the stage because we were too embarrassed to go on the stage.
Yeah.
But we played some of the proper musicians' instruments, and we played before the gig started. It's a free festival just outside Stonehenge where you could go near the things. He played Jessica, which is by
The Allman Brothers, come on, get it together, Louis. 1973, it was the music for Pop Black. Pop Black. It was original. You played that? I'm finding that hard to believe.
Well, Dave was on.
Yeah, Dave
was on lead guitar. He's much better guitarist than me.
I see that. He admits it. That's the honesty.
The fourth best guitarist in Bad Manners. Seriously,
I don't know why you're laughing. You're being really honest. You get honesty with Louis. Well, that's good. But all right. So you did that. You met up and you skipped. Look, right. Let's get to the meat of the story. When did Bad Manners start? When was the first gig? Blah blah blah.
As Bad Manners.
As Bad Manners. We do have photograph evidence, courtesy of Mr. Allen.
Photographic evidence, yeah.
I know you're not going to be able to see it, but you could stick it right up to that lady's camera.
Who are madam?
Where was the first gig?
So this is, I don't know if you can see this, but it's been on Facebook. So this is Doug and Alan Sayegh, bless him, and Paul here at the Fox in West Green Road in North 15 near Tottenham, and that was on the 27th of January 1978.
Yeah. So that was the first gig.
That was the first gig as Bad Manners, 1978.
As Bad Manners, but there was a gig where it was all of the members of the band, as they were, with a different name. I don't think maybe it's just been called the band.
The group or something.
And then that was at a party in Sudbury. And that was, for me, that was the first gig. We did the same songs as we did.
It's funny, you did the song. I remember I was sitting in my house, I was in a punk band, and I think it was Louis came round to me and he goes, could you come and show us how to do something? And so I went round to where you were rehearsing, which was a guy called Paul Forsyth's house, in his kitchen. He was a singer in my punk band, and I had to teach him the chords to I Wanna Hold Your Hand by the Beatles. That's what they wanted to play. But they wanted to call it I Wanna Hold Your Gland. That's my first memory. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It was good. It was punk. It was like punk. Yeah, it was a bit punky. So 1978. So, what kind of gigs were you playing? Like say 78. I'm going to sound a bit drunk. And what kind of songs were you playing? Was there any original songs? Or
Only Rhinoceros Blues?
Yeah, there was the Cheese and Onion Blues.
Cheese and pickle.
Cheese and Pickle Blues.
Sorry,
Get it right.
Let me
Yeah, Let Me Two Tennies
which was a reggae song.
Yeah, it was a reggae song that Fatty did in Assembly.
Yeah.
And I heard it, and nowadays it probably would be called a kind of Jim Davidson sort of vocal. But people really liked it. He was an entertainer. He did two songs, Let Me Two Pence and Monster Mash. And he was very good.
Yeah, they're great.
He was very good.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, what other sort of stuff and what kind of venues? Was there ever any trouble?
Froggy did a call-in.
Froggy
Did a call-in, and he did right. It was like a reggae version of it.
But Mike Oldfield, we copied the Mike Oldfield version.
Mike Oldfield.
Okay. But what sort of venues were you playing? Any other bands you used to play with that you can remember? Was Sore Throat a band?
Yes, Sore Throat. We played.
Well, apparently Sore Throat were a band. They went to. Some of them went to our school. My knowledge of him was people used to go around singing to the guy,
Mr. Soft.
Mr. Soft. Remember that song? Cockney Rebel. Because he'd gone out with a girl and failed to consummate dinner. So he was forever called Mr. Soft. It's like, for instance, I got a phone call from an old school friend the other day inviting me out to a funeral of someone I've never met. Bit odd. But I always think of him as the man who used to mix his dinner and his dessert together and then spit it at school. That's your memory of kids from school, so that's Mr. Soft. The Sore Throat, I believe, was where Madness got the festing from, because they used to do that in their show.
They were my mates from before in Woodley Down, because I knew the family from my primary school. They were
Good attachment. Speaking to the microphone. You've got enough to say any other time.
Fair enough.
Right, so we're on this thing. So any other bands you can think of? Was there any ska and reggae in there? Because these people are going, where's the fucking ska and reggae?
That comes a bit later.
One of our first original songs was a thing called Lie Down Little Girl, which was...
Lie Down Little Girl.
I tell you. It was the 70s.
Now then, Lie Down Little Girl by Bad Manners.
which we'd stolen from the Rico B-side, the Rick.
Right, yeah.
Lie down, little girl, I tell you. Lie down,
That was
I tell
one of my...
This is the original here. Yeah. I'm calling the police, big man. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Lie down little girl. Girls are good, one is like your sizes or something.
Yeah.
Some girls are big.
That's
Some
true.
girls are little.
That's true. And to my memory, you did Monster Mash, used to play that. Cheese and Pickle Blues.
It's Monster Mash because we loved the Bonzo Dog.
Yeah.
And we wanted to be like them.
Bonzo Dog Dog Band were a big influence on Bad Manners. Are you familiar with the Bonzo?
Anyone?
I don't know. I don't think it's Sam, I don't know what people know and what they don't know. I don't even know my own wife's name. So yeah. So any other reggae and ska things? Oh God, you're forgetting this. I'm the one who's going to have to prompt you. Bad Manners' big number was a song called The Milky Bar Kid. It was, basically near to the end of the set. It was a big song.
And Doug used to make it up as he went along.
So can you tell us a bit about The Milky Bar Kid? Was it about anyone in particular? The bit I remember about it was, in fact, hold on, this has got a theme. You take a young boy behind a bush and play with him chocky.
It kind of
It's in the third person, not I. He. It's suggesting that the Milky Bar Kid might have been
a bit dodgy.
When you think about it now,
Yeah, everything you think of now, it sounds wrong. It wasn't wrong. But I remember there was a kind of scar break in it, wasn't there?
Yeah, the end.
At the end, it all went scar.
Yeah. I mean, that was the highlight of the show. But there was other things like you used to do Love Potion Number 9,
Boney Maroney.
a lot of Van Morrison songs.
A lot of Van Morrison songs. Lee Perry, Not in Sight. I can assure you that. But there you were. I can speak being standing away from it. I thought they were like the best band ever. The funniest. On that kind of pub circuit, there was a thing called pub rock. And although it wasn't pub rock, it was what we were doing, drinking and being entertained, and they were, honestly, it was so funny, tears used to come out my eyes, and Doug and Fatty was very funny, it was a kind of different performer, there's a lot more humour to it, you know. I could remember so many gigs.
It's very surreal.
He used to get on the floor and he was making love to the floor, you know. He was doing Boney Maroney, because she was obviously much thinner than him because she was bony, and he wasn't at all bony, so he kind of crushed her into the floor. And
Little girls, little boys, crushing women to the floor.
Yeah, well, it was the 70s.
No, it wasn't bad. Everybody was, no, they weren't. No. I'm trying to bail you out.
I don't think Spandau Ballet were doing that.
No.
Alright, I think maybe. So let me just put this on record. I thought it was one of the best bands, and to think that they were actually going to become successful was so ridiculous. You know, but you could get in, you know. So let's move on a little bit. Bad Manners. See, Bad Manners. You're still playing those songs, and it was Bust the Blood Vessel on Bad Manners for a while, wasn't it? Yeah. And don't you remember the first review? This is a bit later. I'm jumping a little bit, a few months. Bust the Blood Vessel and his band of Johnny Nobodies. The words of a friend of mine, Gary Busher, who loves Bad Manners and loves everyone in it, but you seem to think, and the one thing Bad Manners never were was, and this is the reason why we're here today, about a bunch of Johnny Nobodies. Everybody had a character. It's the weirdest band. I mean, I don't know how familiar you are with the records. And if you ever looked at the front of the first Bad Manners record, No, they just look like fucking weirdos. All the specials and the madness and selector and stuff looked so good. The hats, they looked cool as fuck. Bad bad manners. I remember his white shoes on the cover. It was so good.
Gary Brooke, to quote Gary Fisher again, he's called us Backstreet Weirdos.
Backstreet Weirdos.
The genuine rudies.
And one review was atrociously unfunny.
Atrociously unfunny.
The first review.
But this kind of, I'm jumping again, this kind of is a thing that continued through your career. Not the critics having a go, but the people like you. I think that's brilliant. Anyway, let's jump forward because you want to get to the star. So anyway, I remember this. I was telling the boy. I remember I hadn't seen them for about 6 weeks. I'd been away doing stuff. Came back. I was walking up a place called Stamford Hill, very Jewish area. And I looked and I saw this figure in a skip. The legs were out of skip, and it was Fatty. He'd seen something in the skip he wanted for the studio, and he's taken out. And he said, "Oh, we're playing tonight. Do you want to come?" And I went, "Yeah, of course, yeah." And when I came, it was still great, but it's slightly different. The band were wearing sort of suits, and they were doing double barrel Elizabethan reggae, maybe, and it had changed a bit, and it was just before two-tone. And I was a bit sure, I did prefer the other thing, but I got to love it more, but then, so we're at two-tone.
It's completely my fault because I had a big collection of skinhead reggae records, and I thought that we should be doing this sort of stuff because it's going to be famous. But we were already doing it. So, but I do regret, there's maybe a regret taking that way. No, the kind of surrealistic, weird group could have been better.
But Lee Thompson had madness of it, didn't he? Yeah. And he said, if you play a bit more ska, you can support it.
Oh, okay.
And that's kind of...
So Tomo's to blame.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
See, I would just like to point out something as well. We're very, very old friends, so I thought I'm not going to do any scripting. I'm not going to write any questions down, which we don't need to, but I'd like to jump back a bit. Because I think we should talk about Alan Sayegh.
Oh, God,
and to me, Winston Bazoom is Alan Sayegh. It was half his band, at least.
It was a big influence,
For me, it's the most important person.
I mean, I think he bought a lot of sort of records from the band that he used to collect and bring them. And
like Scruffy, he had Scruffy.
He had an extremely eclectic record collection, which included reggae. He loved like Dillinger and stuff like that, and he loved reggae and also country, and he'd be like playing one thing after the other.
Loads of Cajun music.
Yeah, just a fantastic. I don't know where he got all his records.
I do. I used to see him and go with him a lot. It was a junk shop
Church Street.
at the bottom of Church Street in Stone Newington. We used to go there and find the records where you could do that. There's no such thing as junk shops, I don't think now. And you got to remember something else. And it was all rock music then. People who like rock and pop thought reggae was ridiculous. They thought it was childish music, So it was great. You could pick up all these brilliant records, and he did that. But on stage, not saying off stage, on stage, he was half his band. And people loved him, he wasn't that well as well, not even from when he was young. He got iller, and I'm sure having half the crowd going, Lune, at him didn't help. But he just couldn't take your eyes off him. So anyway, Alan was a big part. So we're in two-tone, or just pre-two-tone. Did you get any offers from Two-Tone to make a record?
Yes.
Well, tell us about
Not directly, I don't think, but with Jerry Dammers was wanting to sign us to Two-Tone. Apparently we weren't, as far as I know.
Okay, well my memory, as I said, is quite good for silly incidents. I remember meeting you, Paul, and stuff, because I lived in an area called Haringey. And I met you in a pub called the Beaconsfield. And you said, EMI want to sign us. And he goes, do you want to come out? You did. We went out and we went to this guy's house called Roger Ames. Roger Ames, a few years ago, I was reading in Q magazine or Mojo, and it was the 10 most influential people in the record industry. And it said figure of his wages, and it said just think of any number and double it. He's important. We went to his house, and the first thing was in Bayswater, which is a really expensive part of London. And the first thing we saw, we went in, he had 2 jukeboxes in there, and we was all amazed. And the band ended up signing to Magna. I mean, if you're not familiar with record labels, EMI are like Arsenal, and Magnet are like West Brom.
Alvin Stardust.
They did have Alvin Stardust.
Matchbox.
Yeah, had a very. I wouldn't say anything about it, but I heard that the owner wasn't.
The owner's Lord Lee.
Lord Lee, his
His
name
son
is.
owns Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
Was that the song?
But I was so shocked. We went out, we had a great time. He really liked the band and stuff. And they just signed Dexy's Midnight Runners. I remember that. And then about a week later.
So they offered just Dennis Bovell as producer.
Yeah, they offered Dennis Bovell producer. And they still went with Magno. And I did hear, I had dinner with Fatty and with this guy. I heard that he turned down Pete Waterman as a producer. That's what. Well,
Wasn't going to make.
and when I was having dinner, he was taking the piss a lot out of Doug. So he was at his height. He was Kylie and Jason was at this dinner, and he was taking the piss a lot. So I got to think, yeah, he probably was turned down. And your producer was Roger Lomas.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk Roger.
Selector.
He did Selector. I'm going to stop saying, are you familiar with him? Right, so Roger Lomas, any things you think, did he have a great input? And what made you do Nini Nana Nana Nunu as your first single?
Yeah, saying there's one that's the influence of that. Yeah.
Dickie doing the don'ts.
Yeah, so it was an old rock and roll record by a band an act called Dickie Doing the Don'ts. And I can remember hearing it on the radio for the first time, and the jump from the pubs to that, I couldn't believe. And they'd actually got a record deal.
With that song.
Yeah, with that song, your mates get a record deal. They got Seal who's pulled with a bit. All right. And how do you sell this to someone? Oh, what's their first single going to be? Nini na 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 na. That's it. It's unprofessional. We don't do this. And
Well, we want to be taken seriously.
yeah. I really like the B-side of that as well. There's a song called Holidays.
Oh, yeah.
But what made you choose, if you did in fact choose that song?
We didn't choose it.
You chose it. I mean, what I've been saying is, did the record company say?
Well,
But we did. We at that time we were a very united kind of front, and what we said went.
Okay.
Later on, that kind of, but then we made the decisions about everything which came out.
And it was a good band record, like as in it featured members of the band, which is quite strange, when you throw people in solos. And something that always occurs to me, something Louis said to me. He said, and actually I think he said it to Doug Fatty. He said, don't ever forget, you're barely on our first hit, and you're not on our biggest hit either, Countdown. So he held his own there, but that was great. And right, so let's jump. I was going to ask you who wrote songs and stuff, but that seems to be a bit boring. Next record was Lift Up Fatty.
Yeah. Me and Louis wrote it.
You wrote Lift Up Fatty.
That's not boring.
That's good. Probably the greatest. It's like, for me, it's like Layla. It's the greatest guitar riff. You got. I go for Nip Up Fatty. Did it ever have any other names?
Nip Up Fatty?
Yeah. Did it when you were writing it?
No. I think the genesis of the title, because we also did a song called Fatty Fatty by Clarence Eccles.
Yeah.
And in the line, if you listen to the original version of that, there is a line which goes, "Lip up the question." I don't know what the rest of them. We couldn't figure out what the lyrics were, but I think that Lip Up the Question came and in Dougie's mind. Dougie did the phrase "Lip Up Fatty" as far as I know, unless he's got it echoed it off of Alan. I don't know.
Well, that could be.
But I just want to ask you this question. There's a lot of women now that don't want to be offensive, okay? But we're all kind of grown up. I heard through Doug that he wanted, or it was called Lick Up Fanny.
People thought it was.
And then, to me, like as a song, that makes more sense. Lick Up Fanny, as I said, don't want to be offensive. I will.
That's your fault.
No, I don't think. In my memory, it was always Lip Up Fanny.
Okay, well that's good. I wanted to get that out because I've been having sleepless nights. The one thing I remember about it, for me, is Who were you introduced on Top of the Pops by when you did it?
Elton John.
Elton John.
A great London band, he said.
A great London band. Elton John, little girls, little boys, Elton John. All follows a path. Did you ever do Jim or Fiddler?
Those other personalities, we never had the pleasure.
But all that Top of the Pops, did you ever do Jimmy Savile?
No.
Because he did a lot, didn't he? And nowadays, a lot of bands complain that they don't get shown repeat fees because they just cut anything to do with it. Quite rightly so, I think. But anyway, yeah, so Elton John, did you meet with him?
I was chatting with him for about 15 minutes before we went on. We discovered that he lived in the same road that I lived in London, Liverpool Road.
The reason why I ask is, and I don't know if any of you have seen this thing, but he was pretty obsessed by ska and reggae.
Yeah.
And there's a very famous picture that was from the 2000s of him and Prince Buster, an awards ceremony, and you've never seen a man look as happy with his arm around. He's like looking up, Prince Buster, I mean, is my idol, you know what I mean? But Elton John's a multi-millionaire, whatever, but that's his love of music. So yeah.
And at the time it was really nice, he seemed like a really nice down-to-earth guy. I've heard other stories since about what Elton John's behaviour, like somebody who worked in his mansion in France and he had to move the pottery around because he'd throw fits because the pot is in the wrong part of the energy of the room, and he became a bit of a priest.
You've got to remember, for a start, he's probably sniffed up. So you put that down. Because it's like you're not responsible really when you're drunk for what you do. I saw someone, might even be in this room. I don't know this. It was just a picture, a thing come up on my Facebook. And the guy looked really pissed at him. And he said, "Great night out at Sanford last night." And I thought, that is pissed. Can't be a mistake, you're in the complete wrong area, So who wrote Lip Up Family?
The line itself was music. What would happen? I would come in with a chord sequence, something always me, and then everybody would make up their own bit. So Dave would come and do and Doug would often follow the bass line with his vocal.
Alan would do his little harmonica.
Alan completely made up his harmonica bit, and Paul made up his wonderful trumpet.
So is that a group effort?
Complete. The lyrics, we that's it together. I think there were some people better at lyrics than others. Not that that's great lyrics, but they're Paul did the lyrics most of the time.
No, it's just the reason why when I was asked to do this, and obviously my great friends, but if you think, say, Bad Manners or Selector, you think of the front person, quite right. That's why they're there, to sell the, like for instance, Fatty might not have been on Hank and whatever, but he sold that record.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
In a dress.
But I feel like, and especially these two people, they really need, as they used to say in the 90s, bigging up. Because, responsible for a lot of the music that you probably love or whatever.
Oh, and thanks, Nick.
Well, that's just why I did it. Because I don't, as a musician, I wanted to get credit and, Anyway. Let's move on. What was the next single?
Special K.
Were you going to say Special K then? You actually said K. I heard that right.
That's what it was originally.
Obviously, I know what it is.
Oh, so hold on. I should ask this just to get it right for Alan, because he likes to have everything nailed down.
Oh, God.
So you did that, and did your first album come out before those, or were they taken from the album?
That was written while we were doing the album.
Yeah.
2 songs.
Yeah.
I remember hearing it first time.
King Scarpa and
Special Editions. They were written while we were in Coventry.
That's right. I remember hearing it first time, and I'll tell this story. Some people might not want to hear it. Went to see the band, and there was a place called the Music Machine, very famous place in London. And it was the first time I heard Special Brew, and I thought, as a young soul, I thought, where the fuck have they nicked that from? Because it was quite a jump in melody and stuff like that. But also because there was all Arsenal skinheads at the gig and West Ham skinheads. There was huge fights, and Martin, the keyboard player, got bottled, and I think someone else got done. And then Chewy got done, the drummer. and the roadies, so we all went out to find these people to beat them up. This is before a gig, you're not drinking backstage. And yeah, so it was a lot of violence at the same time. But that was the first time I heard Special Brew. And I just thought, that's an incredible melody and a great record, you know. It sounded like an advert. There's something, I'm surprised. It has been in an advert.
Jamie Oliver,
Sainsbury's.
Okay, so tell me about Special Brew.
But that again was done.
What they
The line.
the actual melody, but I would say also, like I said, the bass line. The bass line came first.
But that again was done.
What they
The line.
the actual melody, but I would say also, like I said, the bass line. The bass line came first.
Yeah.
I love you. So it's following the bass line. But I'm not going to take anything away from that because that's a great line. I love you. Yes, I do. But it's not this way we used to say. I came in with the intro bit, and then I played these chords. Where I'm going to do these chords like this, and then we change the chord sequence round. So the brass bit, Paul came up with the
Is that Paul's?
chord sequence round. So the brass bit, Paul came up with the
Is that Paul's? That's a big round of applause. Come on. That is brilliant. You see,
and then, so then there was sort of Paul,
so I'm saying this is a great song. Paul did this, did that. I seem to remember you telling me these words. Jelly on my belly while I'm watching the telly.
I've gone down to. I was left the session. One thing about that song is it's quite like you don't read the tragedy. It's like supposed to be in one room, in one place over a period of 24 hours. And that song was like that because from the conception to the recording, it was like that. And we were drinking Special Brew throughout. Like they came in with a big crate of Special Brew and told us to write two songs.
Inspiration.
Okay.
And so this is the.
Who came in with the crate?
A Moose, was it?
Oh, Moose.
Oh, I see
from the studio.
I see, they came in.
From the Magnetos told them to give us some beer and write some songs. I had to go and sign on though, so I wasn't there during the.
He had to sign on. What, and then do Top of the Pops? Didn't you think that was slightly fucking dodgy?
It was the last time.
Geezer, isn't it?
And I got a return from Coventry, and it obviously cost more money than.
You're living in a squat as well.
Oh, we've got to get to this.
So anyway, when I was on the train, I wrote those lines that you just said, and I thought they sounded great to me. And then when I got to presenting those words to the band,
They rejected it. Jelly on my belly while I'm watching the telly. No, I suppose it was better.
That's a number one that we use.
That was a very high chart thing, wasn't it?
number three.
Did you ever get anything from Special Brew? Like, promote this or where?
No, they didn't want to. They didn't want to.
They didn't want anything to do with it.
We weren't.
They'd seen them in the early days.
We weren't seen as a good selling point.
Atrociously unfun.
Yeah, no, but it's a fantastic record. Anything else you can think about that? I mean, you got to, what was it, number 3 or something?
Yeah.
That's fucking a high chart position. And in them days, it's not like now. I mean, it must have sold hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, 300, 400,000.
So how did you put the discs in your squat you were living in? They lived in a squat. It was a very nice squat. Who lived in it? Paul did.
Yeah, we had
Louis did. Doug did.
Yeah, Roy
the roadie. A guy couldn't believe it. I mean, he used to go around there, lovely and all that. And you're in the chart and you're living in a squat. It's incredible.
And signing on.
And signing on. You don't get fucking madness and the specialists telling you this. This is the truth.
They had jobs.
Yeah. They had jobs.
Proper jobs.
That's brilliant. So then the album must have come out, Scar and Beat. Any thoughts on that? Happy memories, sad memories? Anything at all? Anything?
I thought it was well produced. I thought Roger done not a bad job on it.
Yeah. I thought he made the band sound like the band. He could have overproduced it.
It wasn't overproduced, that's for sure.
No, it certainly wasn't overproduced. Favourite tracks on the album?
Weeping in the Waiting.
That's on.
Oh, isn't it?
Isn't that nice? I can't even remember.
Inner London Violence.
Inner London Violence is a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Kingscarf, that was the other one we wrote. Kingscarf.
Oh, Kingscarf, yeah.
And a big favourite track like is Woolly Bully. I know it's a fan favourite.
I didn't like the version on the album.
No, there was a better version somewhere else.
Really?
It made it too long. It was a short song. They took like 5 verses and made up for that.
Here Comes a Major.
Here Comes the Major.
Personally, because it's cultural appropriation.
Well, now.
Right.
Yeah, well, you can look at things differently.
Don't sing like that.
So you obviously started. Did you not get offered to go on? I know you weren't on, but like Two-Tone tour, because there was other bands that weren't on Two-Tone who went on.
I think there was part of Two-Tone, even there was part of them, like Jerry, who liked us, and Roddy liked us, but there was part of the Two-Tone people didn't like us.
Who didn't like it?
I think Pauline.
We weren't serious enough. We weren't political.
Yeah, I know.
Just not political.
I mean, I know this. I have to ask you because it's an interview. You know, he didn't like it. All right. How about this? Did you ever feel any rivalry with Madness, North London? You know.
Yeah. Well, without them, we probably wouldn't have got where we got. But without them, we might have got further. You don't know.
Yeah. Because I remember, I can't remember who it was, it could have been Louis, I'm not putting Louis in the frame or anything. But I remember there was like, I heard the sense that he thought the bit in baggy trousers was a bit bad mannersy, you know, the harmonica.
Maybe there was a pure coincidence, and it may have, I think it was a pure coincidence, but that it also on Suicide Film was always the same line on the same instrument. But I did actually talk with Chris about that, and we tried to work out, it must have been coincidence. They can't, because they were recording it at the same time.
Yeah.
But we ripped off Nightboat the Car, like Buster Dawson.
Is that serious?
Yeah. The name that I said.
Yeah, I know, but it's still, you know, it's still a thing. So let's move on. What's the next album you did?
Looney Tunes.
Oh, that's the one where you infected everybody's ears.
Not we didn't.
Apparently, if anybody bought it at the time, there was a free earring, fatty man earring. You got a fatty man earring, and there was a lot of complaints apparently that it made people's ears septic.
They did make some gold ones. For the record company had gold ones, but everyone else had the shitty one that ruined your ears.
That's awful. That's actually.
But they're worth a lot of money now.
Yeah, apparently worth a lot of money. But there was so you had the singles from that album. We're keeping to singles because they're what most people know. Lorraine. Lorraine, how do you feel now as a 60-odd-year-old man with the use of rubber dolls?
Killing women.
Lorraine punched her on the nose, so I slapped her around the head.
When I find her,
I'm going to kill her. You've got to remember, this is late 1980. Who was the big name in the thing? Oh, it's Peter Sutcliffe. But how do you feel about those now? I mean, you know,
personally, I can't.
It's just at the time.
I wish it had never
it was
been
a
written.
different time.
I don't like that sort of time. I wish it had never been written.
Yeah. Because I remember once again, I have memories of seeing her, and I came to see her. I'll tell you where it was. It was a thing called blanket coverage. And it was at the Hope and Anchor. And it was for charity. I think it was for blankets for homeless people. And when you think they were living in a fucking squat, they should have had the blankets themselves. But I remember hearing the rain and thinking, that's another hit record, you know, whether you like it or not. It was a hit record, you know. And the other one from that record I remember was Just a Feeling, which I think was one of, or a lot of people's favourites.
I like that one.
Oh, I love it. The one thing I really love about that, which I think you just can't do. You can't. If you play in like bands who do cover bands and stuff, yeah, you can cover them, but you need those little individual things. So if you're going to be in a cover band, make sure you cover it all to get it done. And Martin Stewart's keyboards and that are incredible. They're actually brilliant. One bit I didn't like, don't want to be thing, is the skinhead line. I always thought that because it's going to limit you.
Well, I'm just asking you.
You've got to remember, skinheads weren't that liked in the mainstream, so you know you're putting yourself down as a skinhead band.
Yeah. And I sung it here yesterday and included that line.
Well, we recorded it.
You edited it up.
Nothing against Skinners. It just at that time it was just trouble, and I'm not just talking about ska. I'm talking about bands like Sham 69 or that. I'm not talking about someone having a fight. I'm talking about a fucking off. Well, I've seen the whole of venues like Electric Ballroom. I've seen Bad Manners. There's a band, if you're familiar with Headline, we supported Bad Manners on the whole tour around that time, and they had a song called Do Na Di Bad Head. Unfortunately, they also had another one that went Who Wants a Fight? And the fucking whole crowd tried to get on stage and kill them. They were a fantastic band. They were, they really were the unsung two-tone heroes. But yeah, Just a Feeling. Who wrote that one?
Then Paul and Doug, because he wrote the actual line, Just a Feeling.
So you wrote the song and Doug wrote Just a Feeling.
I remember it was originally.
It's the chorus. The words.
Yeah, that's right.
The lyrics were like, originally, to get the melody, it was, he's got no hair on top of his old head. He may be old, but he's not dead. But
it's made up by Paul. Paul made up the melody. I wrote some chords, played some chords, which has a nice chord change, key change, which is But going into the chords,
it was a step forward. That's a good song.
But, so Paul wrote the melody with those notes, and then I think mainly me and Paul wrote the rest of the lyrics. Mainly me. It was funny enough. It was about a girl called Lorraine.
Who was Lorraine?
It was just listen to the song is somebody else. I went out with her and thought, what the hell am I going out with this girl for? And felt happier on my own in the mess of my
Okay.
life. So it's a very genuine kind of song. It's completely true.
Oh, that's true. And
at the time I had a Skinner.
You look very good as a Skinner. I liked it a lot.
So I was a Skinner job.
So that come from Looney Tunes. And so any other memories of that time? Any gigs that you remember that ended in total violence?
We did a whole tour when we only played. We got the second half of the set because we only got through the first 3 songs. But that was a bit later. That was only pushes.
Okay.
But there were quite a lot of
incidents.
We used to.
Did you get a lot of trouble at your gigs?
At that period,
But these are very good. They're very well behaved.
I personally, I don't want to get in trouble with Specialised or the bar staff or the venue. I think you should smash the fucking place. In the spirit of two-tone and Bad Manners. There is a lot of talk.
Be authentic.
And there is a lot of talk about all this love and whatever, but there was a lot of violence then. It was a very dangerous time. In a way that it's more dangerous now because kids are getting stabbed and stuff like that. Where in the old days, someone would just come up and smack you in the face because you had like the wrong scarf on or the wrong whatever. So moving on again because we're here for now, and then we've talked for quite a long time. It's 1981. And Two Tones on a crest of a wave. You've got Ghost Town, #1, fantastic record. And at number 3, you've got Bad Manners with Can Can. I mean, you make up your mind what had more influence. Now, I personally think that Lady Di married Prince Charles, and I think the Can Can probably got played a lot more at wedding blues than Ghost Town did. I think Ghost Town was on like Father Ted. But
Raymond Juice.
They're talking about old school. They're supposed to be doing it in. Right. Whose idea was it to do the Can Can? Wayne Garrard is someone we all went to school with. Yeah. He's
known in Australia.
And what was the thinking behind it?
He's a millionaire now.
Is he? So the man who told you to do Can Can's a millionaire.
We're still in the squad.
Still in the squad.
Right, so and so what, did you have to go to Roger to say is this a good idea, or did you just say we're doing this?
I think there was some resistance from within the band.
There was.
Yeah.
From her record company, I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. I wasn't sure. I can't remember what I thought because I love the piece of music. I remember going to. I'm a middle class kid, so my parents.
You're not, are you? I never forget. Speak French.
My parents took me to see Orpheus and the Underworld, you know, when I was a kid at the Sadler's Well. And that was.
No, you do.
And that is where the music, where the can. I thought it was one of the best things I'd ever seen in my life. I absolutely loved the music. So I wasn't sure. No, I don't. Was I okay?
Why don't you just tell the fucking truth?
What?
You would have been out of publishing, so you pick up a nice bit of purse.
You get all the money.
You know, because it's old. Who was it?
Roger told us that.
Offenbach. Yeah. Anyway, so you record it. Did you know it was going to be, in the words of a BBC, a monster?
Yes.
Yeah, you knew straight away.
Well, we also know with the first 3 singles, we confidently predicted there would be number 1, number 15, and number 1. Number 30, number 15, number 1. That was our prediction within the band, and it was 28, 15, and 3. So
I was just about to say, if you had some betting people in the band, it would have been like.
But yeah, I didn't have any kind of doubt.
So where did you record it?
Rockfield Studio, which is
Rockfield Studio is a very famous studio. Let's put it into context. They did Can there. Bohemian Rhapsody was also recorded there, so you know.
Yeah.
That's good. So you record it and you know it's here. So say for instance Doug, Fatty, Buster, whatever, how did he feel about not really being on it? Well, he isn't.
What was his idea? I mean, the song was.
I mean, he sold that fucking record.
Wayne was very close friends with Doug.
We drive around.
They was always hanging around because Wayne was the first bloke in our school who learned to drive. Roy
was driving when he was 14 when he used to park his car.
So they used to all hang around together because Doug liked being driven around, obviously. And still does like being driven around, bless him. And so, you know, they obviously talked about it and played it in the car. Because I think some other band did a version of it. And Wayne used to play it in the car. And so that's obviously got into his head and they thought it was a great idea to do the camp.
But Doug was good on it, he rapped on it.
He rapped on it?
Kind of.
He rapped on it? Come on, do the can. No, I can't hear.
He did his bit.
Oh yeah, he did his bit, yeah. But one thing I would say is he fucking sold the arse out of that record.
He did, yeah.
The man in a dress and the Dr.
Cartwheels.
Doing cartwheels on top of the box.
The playing and the production is also very.
Playing the production is brilliant too. And just where I mentioned that place, at that time, Top of the Pops is the biggest show. That's what you have to be on. Did you ever have any good encounters there? You know, I don't mean did you fucking fuck one of the band's people or something.
Well, unfortunately not. Although they were on Just a Feeling there at Lexington.
Lexington, eh?
Didn't.
That's what we want to hear. We want to hear those kind of names. Legs and Co, DLT, things that make us feel nice and warm. You know,
We didn't. There was nothing like that happening. No joke.
You saw what he looked like, so there's no trouble.
I thought he was a very handsome lad.
But I do remember from the Can talking to Roddy from the Specials after, because we did it with when they were at Ghost Town, and they were breaking up at that time, and I remember talking to Roddy and saying, "What are you doing? Why are you breaking up?" And then he said, "Egotism." And I didn't realise it was his. Yeah, and it was funny. So we'd meet other bands at Top of the Box quite often, the Specials.
Why didn't you just say, "Oh, that's a real shame"? Then move in now. Don't break up. I'll play guitar for you. Fuck Roddy.
I couldn't feel like Roddy.
Yeah, Roddy is a good man. So that was like a huge hit. Is that the same time as the San Remo disaster?
That was a little bit late.
Exposing your ass to the Pope isn't a good thing to do. Let me just explain. San Remo, I don't know if you know about this, but it's the music festival in Italy, and apparently the Pope was watching, and Fatty at the end of the can pulls down his things to expose his arse. And did that meant you were banned from Front War, or you didn't know?
No, that means we were very, very famous still today in Italy. People still talk about it.
Yeah, they do.
They love the bad bands. Partly San Edinburgh Festival, it's hard to say how big it is. I don't think it's even anything comparable.
Let me give you an idea of how big it is. What I think is funnier than showing your ass to the Pope is the bill was Bad Manners, Barry White, and Dire Straits.
There is Roussos.
Is Dennis Roussos on it? Did Doug get jealous about the size thing?
Barry White.
But so yeah, that was pretty cool, and you get banned from that. Any other memories? There must be more can memories than that. I mean, that's a fucking huge record. Did you ever? Let me ask you this: would you have swapped the can for being on Ghost Town right now?
No, I mean yes. No, I think Ghost Town is absolutely.
I think yes, it's worth the art.
The can-cans are nice and it's fun, but Ghost Town's, as you say, a work of art.
Oh, I remember hearing Ghost Town, and all 3 tracks are good on the record, and I was like, how the fuck did they do this? This is proper music, you know what I mean? There's all the little bits in it, but Can-Can's is good.
In a way.
And that was 1 and 3, wasn't it?
Well,
It's number 2.
Different. Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
Barbara Streisand was number 1, so imagine how many records you'd have to sell to be number 3.
And then, gosh, I think most people, I don't know how many Bad Manners fans are here or people who really know, but Gosh Hits is like the album that is considered the best. Would you agree on that? Yeah, I think so. The drawing on the front done by Dave Farron, do you like that? Yeah. Even though it gave you a little double chin on it. I noticed that. I thought you'd had an argument with Dave. Fuck him. Double chin, behind it. So, let's go through that. Right. I have to say this, I don't want to ask you what you think your absolute high point in Bad Manners is. For me, as a fan, however, it's Walking in the Sunshine. Yeah. When I heard that and saw that and all that, I thought, that's a fucking proper record. That's a proper song, and it's like, even though you don't care about reporters and stuff, you need them to support you sometimes. And I thought, they can't knock this record, and they didn't. I mean, it was almost like, you could have been a kind of madnessy record. It was like that period there, Grey Day and stuff. It's a great record.
I think we were more reggae than we played reggae better than Madness, and that is more reggae kind of.
Right. Louis Alphonso, 2024.
They're a great band.
We played reggae better than that. I agree. I mean, I find it funny when people say, All Up Madness' first record, but I don't like it when they went pop. That's when I thought they were good. You know what I mean? I thought Madness was phenomenal.
We couldn't write pop records like they could write, obviously, but we could play reggae better.
So yeah, Walking in the Sunshine, let's talk about that, because I think that's great. It's a great record. I think it's fantastic. Who wrote it? Where did you record it? Do you owe any money on it? Who wrote that song?
Well, again, it's a chord sequence and rhythm sequence, which I came in and presented to the band as a song. Well, it was not a song, it was just some chord. Actually, that's nice. Andy, and you can hear it because I played it on the guitar, and it's a guitar line. Andy was one of the many guitarists better than me in the band. And he
played saxophone.
The alto saxophone, Andy Marsden. Yeah. What's his stage name?
Sorry,
Marcus Abson. And then I don't know. That's all made up. That's
all made up. That's big round of applause. You know, you can have a chorus walking in and saying that's got a chorus. That's as good. You could make that's a football chant, isn't it? You fucking can't, you fucking way.
We used to go up the North Bank. Me, Paul, and Dougie were trained our musical inventions up there singing in the North Bank.
Yeah, by the way, they are all Arsenal fans, unless you're interested.
Douglas Chelsea.
When's kickoff?
So was there any other singles of the Gosh Hits?
I don't know why there's only 2.
Oh, Weeping and Wailing.
I thought Weeping and Wailing was a great song.
Should have been a single, but
didn't it come with a free poster?
Yeah.
So you actually thought that people would take that poster and put them on the bedroom wall, next to David Essex. I said David Essex because I saw Denise over there. So There's Denise there. I know she's a huge David Essex fan. Aren't you, darling? I know you. Anyway, that's great. So it's all going well. Everything's going well. You're riding, and is that a high point for you?
Yeah, and we were.
If you look back down, is it still the winter thing? That's when we was at our best.
Yeah, we were playing brilliantly.
Yeah,
we were flying.
I can say that because I remember at that time I went to a gig at the Rainbow, another big venue in London. I met a girl. I was taking her home, and as I left, Paul said, "All right, Nick, how's your wife and new baby?" I'm not proud of it, but that's the kind of friend he was. I was married. Anyway, it was great. Did you have bagpipers on there?
Yeah.
You had bagpipers.
The rainbow, the second rainbow gig.
Yeah. And what did they play?
Oh, Echo 4-2, they started the drums.
Yeah, they did the drums on
Okay.
that.
Echo 4-2. That's the song Bad Manners started with.
And still do.
And still. See the way I fed you that line? There's that a gentle feed. So, what came after that?
Bonacera.
Walking in the Bonacera.
Oh, that one might have been a mistake.
Well, do you think that was a mistake?
We're records.
You should have done Angelina.
No, do you think that was a mistake? Do you think you're getting into the cover territory, novelty?
Yeah, we went a bit off piste, I think.
Yeah. But it didn't do brilliantly, did it? But it probably still sold more than...
It sold 100,000, 150,000.
I mean, who
Would have been. It came out at Christmas if they hadn't had those sales in normal time.
And was it a bad decision or I've got this thing
Same as record company.
because one thing I would like to ask you now, you've had all those things, is Madness, the North London friends, rivals, whatever you want to call it, they're known for their songs and probably more important, their videos. How come Bad Manners never got a decent shot of your videos? What did you have? Walking in the Sunshine?
One video. Oh,
The Rain.
Stingy record company.
But you've got a man with a bald head going and doing all that. Why wouldn't he be made for video?
Visual.
You spend a few quid and it could make you much
Samson and Delilah. They spend a lot of money
That
on
was the most expensive.
Okay. Well, I just always shocked them, but you never seem to get videos. You were known more for being on TV and dressing up.
Tis was.
Or dressing up, yeah.
Checkers play.
Checkers and all that.
Anyway, so the next album was Forging Ahead.
Your favourite?
Yeah, I liked it. I heard it and I loved it. Didn't Alan, you did some lyrics, didn't you? Or backing vocals on it? Or because he's the 10th member of Bad Manners.
And you're the 10th and a half.
Yeah. No, anyway, tell us about Forging Ahead. Very grown-up album, I think.
Well, the backing tracks were already done, weren't they? When I came along and we all sat around trying to write words together, really, didn't we? So that's how that happened, I guess, mostly. Although Samson and Delilah was already written. That was ready to go.
Yeah.
And Rose of Italy.
They spent a week on it.
Yeah.
A long time on that track. And the record company didn't want to release it. So.
But at that time, do you think that maybe you wanted to be liked by other bands and all that, and because you do that, you've got your own great tracks, but you release My Girl Lollipop, that becomes a big hit, and you might think at the time, maybe they're right. Maybe your record company's right. Because you get a song like Samson and Delilah, it's a proper song, properly played and stuff, but they push it out and you start to think, well, maybe they're right, How did you feel about all that? If you felt anything.
We did feel things, but maybe different things.
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
Sometimes you just don't care, sometimes you just go along with it, and, you're playing in a band for a start, that's a big thing.
Lollipop would be a hit.
Yeah.
That was
Number 9, I think.
Yeah.
But my missus at the time, she said if you do that, that will be your hit, and it will be your last hit.
And she was right.
Who said that?
Claire.
Oh, how very astute.
Very astute.
Well, it obviously was going to be a hit, but he's the death knell, or whatever they call it for a band. Because
We're diverging with record company at that time because some of them wanted to be not taken seriously but do serious music. I don't know what you're saying about peer pressure. I don't think we cared too much about what the bands thought. But we wanted to do music which was really good music.
the music was good.
But so
Didn't want to be a novelty band, really.
and then the record company wanted to push us in the way of being like a comedy band or a novelty
Is you think is that the problem? I mean, like when you've got a singer who's so famous of a certain thing, and you're never going to take it seriously. So maybe the music, the fans don't, you know.
Well, that is the issue.
You know,
And you've got Douglas in front.
which is a shame because you've got an ultimate frontman, you know, but people might look at him and say, well, it's just always going to... You can listen to Samson Delilah, I don't think there's anything funny about that, but yeah, you've got that singer.
Although the original lyrics which he made up were rub it up, Delilah, which I think were better. But you couldn't, the record company, they can't bring that out like that, but that's so we were going against our nature.
See,
that was the problem.
See, if I'd have produced that, I would have just put it on the fade out. Robbie Dog, Robbie Dog, Robbie Dog, and you go, yeah.
I'm not saying Romeo and Juliet.
I think that's a good chorus.
It was, I think it was Dave Farron. He was obsessed by what's his name, Bruce Springsteen, who had a song
Fire,
which is Romeo. He's got
that's a bit strange.
Yeah. And it was, I didn't like it because it was like taken from that.
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
I'm not the lyric. I didn't. I like the music was really good, but putting that lyric wasn't original. I didn't like the non-originality. And what does Dougie know about the Bible? Honestly, I don't know, I've read the Bible, but no, that's not what people...
But it's still a great record. It's still a great record, but it just feels like you weren't given the right treatment, really. You know, I mean, you deserve videos, promo, you never really got that.
We did get an expensive video on that one, but it wasn't very good. I don't know.
Transparent vinyl.
Oh, yeah, there's lots of picture discs in those days, transparent vinyl and stuff. But he didn't do that well, did it, Fortunately? Well, it did worse than Crossroads, which is a shame, because it's a good album, you know. And then, so what happened after Fortune Ahead? Because you went very quiet for a couple of years.
That would be nice.
Yeah, they did the hit.
Yeah, no, that's right. Sorry, my mistake. There was a single called That Would Do Nicely, which was really good. I really thought it was a great song. I remember walking along the street going to the greengrocers in the morning, and I got hijacked, and you kidnapped me and took me to Checkers Place Pop. You know, I didn't hide
against his will.
They didn't go get and say, come in, like, you know, we're going up the road. We're going to Manchester, it was to Checkers Place Pop. But I thought that would be nice to a great record. And I thought, you know, and you changed producers then as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Do you need to go to the toilet, though?
Sit down. I'm never sitting down.
Is there a physio in the house?
And who was your producer for that?
Richard
It was there a man.
Richard Hartley, yeah.
Wasn't there a man who made records for Torval and Dean?
Yeah, well, that music for Torval and Dean.
Oh, Rocky Horror Show.
Yeah. And also there was a time I remember where Lee Perry was asked to produce Bad Manners, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But he wanted the band to change their name to what? They remember? Good Manners. He didn't want anything. Lee Perry wanted it to be good manners, not bad manners. It was through Fatty who did that. So you did that, and then there was which really, if you know much about the music industry, when you put your best of greatest hits out, that's it. It's usually runs, and it was the height of Bad Manners. But I think it was like TV advertising and stuff like that.
My complaint was we only had 9 hits, and they wanted to a best hit should be like 20 hits.
Yeah. You could have done one more, I'd say, yeah. You could have done Let's Twist Again or something, you know. Oh, you did? No.
Listening from reggae.
Yeah, something like that. But then there was a break, so you got in there, and then you were joined in the band by Jimmy Scott, conga player, really great character, a man who's responsible for coming up with Obladi Oblada. That was like a phrase of his. He used to come up with all these phrases, didn't he?
That was his name, actually.
Was it his name?
Life goes on.
Life goes on. That's what he used to say. And then there was a gap.
He was a friend of Paul McCartney, and Paul McCartney wrote that song.
He nicked it.
Yeah. And then you got another harmonica player, didn't you?
Stevie Smith, who's I think is still Britain's best blues harmonica player. He's brilliant.
I don't want to be a company, but Wasn't it Jerry Tremaine?
It was a Jerry.
Are you trying to forget Jerry?
Yes. No. Anyway, sorry, Jerry. No.
Jerry, yeah.
No, but it wasn't the greatest blues song ever played. Stevie Smith is a brilliant. He still plays.
Still going, yeah.
Yeah, no, Stevie Smith is a brilliant blues
Singer
player. And then you were touring all around and doing this, going to America, and then you signed for a big label, CBS, Portrait, and you recorded an album called Mental Notes. Why?
Contractual obligation.
Yeah, let's discuss Mental Notes. It's a much maligned album by some people. Some people like it, but when they recorded Mental Notes, it sticks in my head so closely. Going round to Louis' house, and he gave me a copy of the album, and I was looking at it. He goes, I look the best on the front there. He goes, I look like a fucking wanker on the front of the album. That was Louis' opinion of it. I'm not sure he's right. Paul looked pretty down there.
No, Paul,
So where did you record that? Where did you record that?
in a very posh studio in South Hastings. Yeah, it was Hastings. Yeah, because I went to Battle.
So I came just to see
Battle in Hastings. And there was a single from it, wasn't it? Did it ever come out?
Blue Summer.
Blue Summer.
There was a track called Blue Summer. I remember it came with a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
Which,
Why I did?
Oh no.
you do know, right? You do know. I don't want to tell. I don't want to tell people. You do know that when they do that, it costs you money in the end. That jigsaw puzzle we did for you, that's $100 grand. But that back. So, what are your feelings on that album? Because it's definitely not what people would call Batman. Is he proud of it?
It's a good song.
Yeah, I like
Tossing, you like Tossing's good?
There's a song called Tossing in My Sleep, which I think it certainly came out, but I don't think it came out.
I've got it as a single.
Yeah, it's on the single.
Quite hard to get hold of.
Right, and there was
Bang on the drum.
and then there was Bang on the Drum.
Well done.
Thank you for a little bit of that.
That's it.
Who said Bang?
This guy.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. He's got a King Allen show. He's going to know this kind of stuff.
The rhythm track of Bang on My Drum was a big hit in the, we didn't get any money for it, but it was a big club hit. It was a rhythm trick. They took the vocals off.
Funny enough.
And then, of course, you ventured into rap.
And we were the first.
With what the papers say, if you know that track. It's an interesting track. No, I'm saying it's interesting. It's a brave
There weren't
track.
many British rap bands in the track.
You know, it's a brave track because your fans wouldn't expect that.
No.
So, you try and take them with you. And,
They all went and
Yeah, well, we recognised that rap was going to be a flash in the pan and wasn't going to last.
We got off that train.
in typical Bad Manners fashion. And really, that was, Mental Notes was kind of the last of what I call bad manners, proper bad manners, I mean, some people think when Sayed was gone, it wasn't like that, but I don't think that. I mean, you're always, in music, you're always going to lose a few people along the way, you know what I mean, through whatever. But that was about it. Yeah. And since then, there's been the loss of Alan Sayed, Mr. Bazunis, which was really, really sad. And I know he came back to play with Fatty for a few years, but that was sad because he was such a character, honestly. I mean, if you don't know much about him, you should listen to some of the Bad Manners stuff, like Scruffy and just pretending. So it's great. That's a great record, And of course, Bad Manners still goes on today because, as I say, that's why you have a proper good frontman. He's still there doing it, you know what I mean? But today was about, for me, when I was asked to do it, to show people there was lots of people behind it, not just Louis and Paul, but to me they were always the two writers, if you know what I mean. And so next time, men, for instance, because a lot of men with bad manners, you're lying in bed with your wife and you put on lip up fatty and she calls you a bastard. Just remember, you've got these men to thank for that. Next time you see that. So I'd like to say a big round of applause for Louis Alphonso, Paul Justin, Herman and Alan Perry. Please just sit down. And good work.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. I was so eager just to let you know that there's a thing behind it all. You know, it's never just one person or two people, and they're very gracious with their saying, "Oh, this was a different brass thing for this," or "Someone did that," because there are some people in this world who just say to me, "The price is cheaper than the bar." I'm one of those people. But you know. But anyway, once again, because I think we could go louder than that. Let's have a big Sunday afternoon, and may Arsenal not lose to Chelsea for these boys. For Louis Alphonso, Paul Montgomery, and Alan Perry. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget Nick there as well. Absolutely awesome. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, lads. Superb.